Okay, so this is your fourth tutorial. A link to the notebook and dataset that we're using is given to you in the tutorial details notebook. There are three essential things that we're going to be covering today. Firstly, we're going to look at data visualizations in Matplotlib. In Seaborn, I will leave some of these for you to explore on your own. Essentially डेटा विजुअलाइजेशंस का कोड हम एग्जाम में नहीं टेस्ट करेंगे. However, this is important for your project. It should help you get started with some visualizations. From an exam point of view, you should be able to highlight problems with certain visualizations. You should be able to, as a data scientist, pick what visualization works best on what kind of data, and you should be able to justify your choice. For this ungraded homework 3 may you have some wonderful practice questions available for your reference. I would encourage just looking at those questions. Um, all right. Next, we're going to discuss some string operations, most of which you have discussed in class, one to two additional ones, and all of these are very important from an exam point of view as well. दिस इज वंडरफुल फॉर प्रैक्टिस. इसके लिए आपके पास एक प्रैक्टिस क्वेश्चंस की नोटबुक है एंड एक सॉल्यूशंस की नोटबुक है. Lastly, we're going to discuss regular expressions. Regular expressions may almost everything that we're going to cover has been covered in class as well. We're going to focus on practice. I have given you a tool for regular expressions as well. Try using regex 101. I will tell you about it shortly as well. For regular expressions, I will teach you about one or two small REs that have not been covered in class, but you will find important perhaps when data cleaning, etc., or doing something in your project as well. I will specify what is important when. With that, let us get started. We're going to cover the exact same visualizations in Matplotlib that you already covered in Pandas essentially. So we are working with the exact same data set. My bad, ये data set के link में I think थोड़ी सी problem है. Let's just, yeah, this should work now. Let's give it a second. This is running. I'm just gonna quickly try restarting this notebook. Actually, sometimes Kaggle can do that. Maybe it's an internet issue. Let's give it a second. Okay, I'm just going to refresh once. I can just paste the link again. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so this is the data set, the same data set that we're going to be working with. इसमें सिर्फ एक column में एक null value है, which is inflation change. It's this very first value. Okay, so the thing is, while Pandas allows you to make simple visualizations and is a wonderful tool for EDA, Matplotlib and Seaborn are two libraries in Python that give you a lot more command over your visualizations. You can add titles, labels, you can add legends, you can add grids, keys, etc. It gives you a lot more control even over line, color maps, etc. So we're going to make a line plot between the variables year and GDP growth. आप matplotlib को import करते हुए लिखते हैं matplotlib.pyplot as plt. जिस तरह pandas के लिए we're using pd, उसी तरह seaborn के लिए you are using sns. Okay, so I will write plt.plot, then I will specify the two series between which I want to create a plot. These two series are sharing an index. I will specify the label of the x-axis, the label of the y-axis. These are all optional commands, but मैं इसको अपनी मर्जी से specify कर सकती हूँ. You can see that this doesn't exactly match what's given over here as well. उसमें underscore था. In pandas, by default, ये titles चले जाते हैं. Then I can give a title to my entire graph. And plt.show is just used to display the plot. So this is essentially what it's gonna do for me. Then I can change markers in a scatter plot as well. I can make scatter plots. Again, plt.plot मैंने use किया है. plt.plot by default दो variables के बीच में line plot बना रहा है when I'm giving it two series. If I give it a certain marker, like for instance मैंने इसको plus दे दिया तो ये scatter plot बनाएगा जिसमें ये plus को use करेगा as a marker. I have specified the marker over here. Actually, it is steric in this case, and that's how it's working. And you can pretty much change it to different things and see what works for you. अगर आप इसको dash set कर दें तो ये line plot बना देता है if you set the marker to dash. Similarly, you can change the color as well. The color argument, if I've specified it as R, it's gonna make a red plot. You can specify a color and a marker together as well. Let's try that out. Yeah, it's not working over here. Um, Let me actually fix that in the notebook and share with you. Similarly, आप अगर Y specify करें तो it's yellow, then you can specify G for green, etc. I'm actually realizing I think you can only set one of these like this, or rather than check it out in the documentation to see what else is available to you in plot as well. Okay, you have a direct way of making scatter plots as well without specifying markers. Instead of plt.plot, आप plt.scatter भी use कर सकते हैं. Then you have color bars. Suppose for a color bar, what you're actually doing is कि आप two नहीं three variables के बीच में correlation observe कर रहे हैं. So it's like a scatter plot between two variables, but then a color bar that tells you the value of a third variable for each data point. Color bar में मैंने एक so I just select plt.scatter ही. I give it the two series, and then the third series I set it as C. C means the color axis. And C map means the color map. Just that we have a hot map, we have a cool map, you have Viridis, for instance, and some color maps that you're gonna look at in class as well. You can explore this in the documentation. You have several other maps available to you. Dot color bar मैंने अलग से set कर दिया to make sure that it is visible. This is what it's doing for me. So ये different color bars आपके पास available होते हैं. अगर मैं dot color bar को comment out कर दूं तो it's still making the color map for me. But ये bar explicitly display नहीं करेगा. So that's the kind of command that you have in this library. Moving on, you have histograms. You have the plt.hist function. Histogram आप एक ही variable के लिए बना रहे हैं. Similarly, you have x, y labels and the title. You can obviously adjust the number of bins as well, just like you were doing in pandas. We're not going to go over what bins are again. For this, you can refer to your lecture on visualizations or to the last tutorial as well. Then you have pie plots. Pie plots के लिए, just like you had to specify value counts for pie plots and bar graphs in pandas, you have to do the same in matplotlib and in Seaborn as well. So ये मेरे पास एक categorical variable है inflation change जिसकी three unique values हैं in my data set: increase, decrease, no change. For a pie plot, I will write plt.pie. I will pass to it not the series inflation change, but inflation change dot value counts. और मैं हर value counts के against उसे labels भी pass कर रही हूँ ताकि वो labels display हो जाए मेरे pie chart के ऊपर. And this is the wonderful visualization that it's giving me. If I remove this legend line, तो ये key को खत्म कर देता है और सिर्फ इसी तरह इन्हें specify करता है. Similarly, अगर मैं इन labels को खत्म कर दूं, because then I have to put them in that same order. So this is what it's gonna do for me then. then there is no legend. So I have to give those labels. मैं value counts के अंदर से actually अगर dot index से select करूँ तो I think that that should work as well. Let's see actually. Yeah, so this is gonna work as well. You can directly use those too. Anyway, moving on, you have you have the explode function in PyPlus. This is really useful. This is something that I believe pandas will not do for you. सो एक्सप्लोड के अंदर मैं उसको सिर्फ ये बता रही हूँ कि कितना उसने बाहर को पुश करना है एक सर्टेन बार को. मैंने सबके लिए .2 स्पेसिफाई किया हुआ है, बट फॉर इंस्टेंस नो चेंज के अगेंस्ट आई वांट टू हाईलाइट इट व्हेन आई एम टेलिंग अ स्टोरी. सो आई राइट .6. नाउ दिस हैज मूव्ड वे मोर आउटवर्ड्स as compared to the rest of my pie slices. Moving on, you have box plots. For box plots, you have the dot box plot command. You, of course, only need to specify the y label. This is how a box plot works. Um, you can also make multiple box plots on the same axis, just like you can in pandas. And you can make multiple different kinds of plots on the same axis as well. So let's see. Suppose in a line graph, I want to observe the trend of GDP growth against year, inflation against year, and unemployment against year. And I want to compare these not just over time, but I want to compare these आपस में as well. So I will just put that on one plot, and this is how it works. It's a little messy though, because there are multiple colored lines. I don't know what each is representing. So what will I do? I will add a legend to this. When I specify dot legend, तो ये key मुझे दे देगा. When I specify along with dot legend dot grid, तो ये back पे एक in fact grid भी create कर देगा, which makes me easier to decipher what each point is giving me, कौन सी value आ रही है. That's gonna be all as far as Matplotlib is concerned. There is a notebook available to you on Seaborn as well. I'm not gonna cover it in detail. Mostly the things that we're covering are exactly the same as what we've already covered. But I want to quickly walk you through multiplots to show you what kind of command Seaborn is giving you over this as well. So this is how I'm making multiple line plots. Abhi tak it's exactly the same. And when you are using Seaborn ke andar line plot, however, you have to specify SNS dot line plot as opposed to PLT. Seaborn or PLT को आप आपस में use कर सकते हैं. This is what I want you to be familiar with as well. You can use a combination of the two. I'm using PLT to give labels, for instance, and adding the grid and the legend, but I'm making my line plots using SNS. And this is what it's doing for me. The rest you can explore on your own. सिर्फ commands में कुछ difference है, but it's good if you're familiar with both libraries. For more complex visualizations, you're often going to use a combination of the two as well. Okay, so next we're going to look at a few practice questions for strings as well as for regular expressions. Some string operations you have covered in class, but you haven't precisely covered them in code, and different examples of each. We will look at these in more detail, and we will look at a couple of additional string operations which are also very important from an exam point of view. Everything that's covered in lectures and tutorials is included unless specified otherwise. So anyway, this is the data set that we're going to be working with. You are given a data set of names. आपको first names given है and आपको last names given है. The first names are in a fairly messy format actually. There are some spaces at the beginning, at the end. Sometimes the entire name is capitalized. Sometimes random letters are in uppercase, but the last names seem fine though. So let's see. The first thing that you have to do is remove any leading or trailing spaces from the first name. For each of the string operations that we will look at, we will try and understand the format of the data that is returned, the expected data type, how to run that command, and well, use cases of each essentially. So there's a string operation that we will use over here. Leading spaces वो है जो string के शुरू में है, this one for instance, and trailing spaces वो है जो string के बाद में है. So I'll give you an example of a string operation that we can use in this case. So suppose that this is what I have. Now I've added some random spaces at the beginning and some random spaces at the end. If I want to get rid of the leading and the trailing spaces without getting rid of what's in the center, because that's important to me. So I will do x dot strip, my bad. So what strip does is it gets rid of these leading and these trailing spaces. This is the output. इसको मुझे store करना पड़ेगा x के अंदर. So I will do x equals x dot strip. Now if I display x, this is what I have. Without getting rid of this space, it has essentially gotten rid of everything, every extra space that was at the beginning and that was at the end. So pandas में भी हम यही use करते हैं essentially. What I will do is कि मैं लिखूंगी df first name dot strip, and this will immediately give me an error. Even for those of you watching the recording, I want you to think for a second कि ये error क्यों आया है. Oh, my bad, unexpected indent. So this is data. I'm just gonna change this to df. It's still gonna give you an error though. So think about what causes this error. It has been covered in class as well. Yeah, so essentially एक series object के ऊपर आप कोई string operation call नहीं कर सकते. If you do it, like for instance, अगर कोई आपके पास series होती जिसके अंदर you had integers or floating points, for instance age, तो आप directly dot min dot max call कर लेते हैं and that works fine. But for string operations, you have to explicitly convert to string first by writing dot str, and then you write the operation that you want to perform. So this is how you will do this job. Now, of course, I have to save this somewhere as well because abhi if I look at my data frame, so yeah, it hasn't gotten rid of those spaces, I suppose. Yeah, let's take a quick look. Is tarah it's actually a little hard to tell. So dot to list just converts this to a list. See, it hasn't gotten rid of these because मैंने ये operation apply करके result को कहीं पे store नहीं किया. So what this is doing is essentially it's returning a series after applying this operation. Then if I do this, so I will essentially store that series into the same column again, overwriting it with what is returned by this command. Now if I look at my data frame, तो अब इसने convert कर लिया है. Once again, it's hard to tell this way, but अगर मैं इसको list के format में देखूं तो you will see कि it has gotten rid of all leading and trailing spaces now. Let's comment this for our use later. Or rather, we don't need it here anymore. So the next thing that you have to do is you have to convert all names to lowercase. So for that, what you do is you will do, I'm doing this for the first name column. You're gonna do this for first names dot str dot lower. इसी तरह आपके पास dot upper का function भी available है. See again, this is what it has returned, and just like before, I must store this somewhere in order for it to work. So this is the result. Next, what you could, and once again, you could guess कि अगर आप dot str miss कर दें तो it's gonna give you the same error. So this is something important to remember actually. You must write dot str explicitly for any and all string operations that you intend to perform. Next, you want to convert all the names to title case, where the first letter must be capitalized. जिस तरह आपके पास डॉट लोअर की कमांड है उसी तरह आपके पास डॉट अपर की भी कमांड है. In fact, see, that's how it works. Everything's in uppercase. And similarly, आपके पास डॉट टाइटल केस की भी कमांड है. But if we stick to what you have covered in class already, there's still another way to do this. I would encourage you to pause and think about how you would do that without using dot title का function. I'm gonna add the solution here. So df first name dot apply. I'm gonna use a lambda function now, or you could have a separately defined function for this as well, जिसका नाम आप दे सकते थे. So name या x इसको essentially pass होगा. I want to take the 0th index, convert it to uppercase, right? And then I want to append the rest of the name to it. So 1 till end. 0th index को uppercase में convert करके उसको मैंने join कर लिया है with all remaining indexes. And that should pretty much work as well. Now again, I need to receive this somewhere as well. See, that works essentially exactly the same way as well, but alternatively आप dot title भी use कर सकते हैं. So this is an important part of data cleaning, standardization, bringing it to one expected standard, one expected format. Next, you want to create a new column full name by joining the first name and the last name space. This is nothing additional. This you have already covered. To reiterate, this is how I will do it. df full name equals df. आप इस तरह operations perform कर सकते हैं between different columns. df first name plus df last name, and let's see what output this gives us essentially. मैंने इसको space से separate भी करना था, spaced. So that's really simple as well, actually. That's how you will do it. And this is essentially what we were looking for. Now moving on to some further string operations. You want to filter out all the rows where the names start with A. A few string operations that you looked at in class were, I'm gonna specify df series, जो भी आपके पास series थी, let's just call it column A dot str dot len. Similarly, you had looked at dot str dot contains. Similarly, you had looked at dot str and then just indexing, for instance, sorry, slicing, or direct indexing should. Direct indexing is not going to work here. It doesn't work directly on data frames, but slicing should work. So these are a few string operations that you looked at. अब हमने एक और operation देखा है, which is dot strip. In class, you also covered dot split. I'm gonna add another string operation over here, which is df column dot str dot starts with, and जिस तरह starts with है आपके पास, उसी तरह you have ends with as well. So I think that's fairly simple, fairly self-explanatory actually. इसको try करके देख लेते हैं. So df full name dot starts with को मैं सिर्फ यही पास करूंगी a. And let's see कि इस command का output मुझे किस format में मिल रहा है. Of course, dot str. So it's essentially giving me a Boolean series. So this is exactly what happens जब आप कोई भी query को directly apply करते हैं. For instance, इस column में तो age है ही नहीं, but अगर age होती और मैं ये लिखती तो मुझे एक Boolean series मिलती जिसमें true होता on all instances where this condition was true for all rows and false otherwise. So similarly, this Boolean series is telling you, is giving you the exact same information as well. So पहले वाले index पे true मिला है because this full name does start with A. बाकी सब पे false है because none other do start with A. So this is what it does for you. And how do you take a Boolean series and get the data frame to give you all the rows for which this is true instead? I want you to pause and think about this for a second. I'm gonna add the solution here. So essentially, आप इसको data frame को pass करते हैं. And this is essentially the output that I was looking for. Let's store it in result. If I store it in the original data frame, so I will lose track of all other rows. So I'm just storing it separately. Moving on to the next question. Once again मैं data frame को यहाँ पे display करने लगी हूँ just for our information. So by the way, dot starts with में आप एक substring pass करते हैं. It doesn't just have to be one character. It could also begin with dot .al, for instance. Okay, now you are required to filter out all the rows where the names end with th or with n. I want you to pause over here and try and solve this on your own. Even if you're doing it on a piece of paper, that's still fine. You will only and only learn pandas by practicing these commands and questions yourself. So df full name, let's not forget .str, otherwise your command will fail. Dot ends with, जिस तरह starts with था, th. और के लिए हम एक boolean operation use करते हैं, which is this. We've covered it in tutorial 2 as well as in, I believe, lecture 3. So df full name dot str dot ends with n. Then you would have to pass your aggregate query to your data frame. And one important thing to remember is कि जब आपके पास इस तरह queries हो तो you have to separate them by parenthesis as well. Otherwise, it will give you an error. Let me quickly demonstrate this error as well, actually. Oh, so it's working in this case, my bad. It's working with string operations. But अगर आपके पास कोई और query है, तो this is essentially definitely going to fail. Let's store this result somewhere. My bad. Yeah, here we go. Now we can see कि जो return हुए हैं names, either they end with n or they end with th. आप starts with की भी इसके साथ command दे सकते थे. Moving on, filter out all the rows where the names contain the substring EV. For our information, once again, I will just display this data frame over here. So all the names that contain the substring VE. This string operation you have covered in class as well. df full name dot str dot contains, and contains को आप वो substring pass कर दें that you're looking for. This will give you a Boolean series, which is true in all the indexes where this condition is true. So once again, I'm going to pass it to my data frame, and this is the result that I obtain. I can just store it in a new variable. So this is the result that you have essentially obtained. Now, these full names contain EV somewhere, for instance, this one and this one. इसके अलावा उसने सारे filter out कर दिया. All right, so that's going to be it for string operation so far. With reference to another example, actually, I'll show you one more important one in code. After that, we'll look at regular expressions, even though it's titled regex. But let's see, you can do this without regex using simple string operations sometimes as well. So you're given the following panda series. Email की आपको series given है. Alternatively, आप इसको data frame भी कह सकते थे. When you are creating a data frame, though, you have to pass it a dictionary, and so essentially, just like that, I have created a data frame. All right. And data frame में एक ही column है जिस column का title है email. You have to extract only the email addresses using regular expressions. Before we look at this one, actually, I want to show you another one. इसको पहले देख लेते हैं. Since we've been working with string operations, why don't we look at this first? So you're given the following text data. Why don't we actually, it's fine even if you don't convert it to a data frame. This is the information that you're given: dates in a day slash month slash year format, 2, 2, and 4 digits. You are required to extract the year from the given dates. Now we're going to look at one last important string operation with regards to this tutorial. इसको देख लेते हैं. Let me give you just one example first. So suppose that this is my string hello world. सो एक स्ट्रिंग ऑपरेशन है आपके पास डॉट स्प्लिट. डॉट स्प्लिट को आप एक कैरेक्टर या एक सब स्ट्रिंग पास कर सकते हैं जिसकी बेसिस पे ये स्प्लिट करता है. सो फॉर इंस्टेंस मैं इसको कॉमा पास करूं तो ये कॉमा ढूंढेगा, जितने भी कॉमास मिलेंगे उनकी बेसिस पे आपकी स्ट्रिंग को स्प्लिट कर देगा, एंड इट विल स्टोर ईच ऑफ योर सब स्ट्रिंग्स इन एन एरे. you'll also notice कि वो कॉमा जो है ईदर साइड पे स्टोर नहीं हुआ. उस कॉमा के इस साइड को उसने एक सब स्ट्रिंग में स्टोर कर दिया एंड दूसरी साइड को एक डिफरेंट सब स्ट्रिंग में. If I do it like that, so now there are multiple commas. Think about what the expected output should look like now. This is what you get. For each comma, उसने break down कर लिया है आपकी string को. So now I have a list. If I want to select the first part, then I will just do zeroth index. क्योंकि मेरे पास list है, right? अगर मैं zeroth index select करूँ तो it should give me just hello. अगर मैं -1 लिखूं तो it will give me the last index, which is just this part of your string. So essentially ये exactly इसी तरह काम करता है. Alternatively, I could break it down on the basis of a whole substring as well. For instance, world. And अब उसने world पे break down कर लिया है, which leaves it only into broken down into these two substrings. With that, we're gonna try and extract the year from the given dates. I would encourage you to pause and try to work this out on your own once as well. Meanwhile, since अब ये directly series है, मुझे इसमें कोई column इस तरह select करने की ज़रूरत नहीं है because this is already a series. So I will do dates.str dot split. I'm gonna make this slightly easier for you guys, slightly less confusing. It's gonna be the exact same command, but just because you have been working with this so far. So now it's essentially a data frame. जिसके अंदर this is what you would do. All right, exact same thing. Dates, date dot str dot split. What will you split on the basis of? You will split on the basis of this slash. एंड अगर हम सिर्फ इसका आउटपुट देखें क्या आता है तो दिस इज व्हाट इट गिव्स अस. सी अगेंस्ट ईच इंडेक्स उसने आपको एक एरे दे दिया. अब हर एरे में से मैंने लास्ट इंडेक्स सिर्फ निकालना है बिकॉज आई जस्ट वांट टू एक्सट्रैक्ट द ईयर फ्रॉम द गिवन डेट. सो व्हाट विल आई डू? I will select I can call it the second index, or I can write -1, which always refers to the last index of your array. But this command is going to fail. Think about why. Okay, this command is not failing over here. Let me just try to do one quick thing. या सॉरी माय बैड. इसने फेल इसलिए नहीं किया क्योंकि अभी मुझे एक सीरीज रिटर्न हुई थी. सो मैंने इसेंशियली उस सीरीज में से ये सेकंड वाला इंडेक्स सेलेक्ट कर लिया. मुझे चाहिए ये था, आई वांटेड द सेकंड इंडेक्स ऑफ ईच. इट डिडंट गिव मी दैट रिजल्ट. That's what I was looking for. It just selected the second index of my series. That's not what I need. Essentially, if I try to do this, अगर मैं here नया store करना चाहूँ, तो this is gonna crash then. बिकॉज मुझे जो चीज़ रिटर्न हो रही है वो सिर्फ एक रो के अगेंस्ट ये वाली चीज़ एक एरे फॉर्म में रिटर्न हो रही है. द रीजन दैट दिस फेल्स इज बिकॉज लाइक आई टोल्ड यू बिफोर अप्लाइंग एनी स्ट्रिंग ऑपरेशन टू अ सीरीज you have to explicitly convert it to a string format by writing .str. so split करने के बाद आपने दोबारा .str लिखना है 2 को select करने से पहले, and then this is what it gives you. See, now it has given me a series जिसमें उसने सब में से year pick कर लिया है. So now if I store it in a new column, this is what it will do for me. Similarly, I could have written -1 over here as well. अगर मैंने month store करना है यहाँ पे, तो I can just very easily change my command to month, and then I would know that month is always going to be at the first index. Similarly, I can extract the day from here as well. Day, and then I would select the very first index. So this is how you use dot split. Just the important thing to remember over here is कि अगर आप multiple string operations at once use कर रहे हैं, तो आपने हर string operation से पहले dot str लिखना है. If I do it this way, for instance, dot str dot strip, and then I do dot split. सो मुझे डॉट स्ट्रिप के बाद दोबारा डॉट एस टी आर लिखना पड़ेगा, फिर मैं डॉट स्प्लिट लिखूंगी, और फिर मैं दोबारा डॉट एस टी आर लिखूंगी बिफोर selecting a certain index or before slicing, for instance, even if I want to slice like that. So that's the key thing to remember. Alternatively, आप इस फंक्शन को implement कर सकते थे using regular expressions as well, but I will leave that for you to think about. We're going to look at other regex problems as well, though. So, with that, let's circle back to our email problem. This is what you're given. इसका टाइटल हम email नहीं रखते, इसका टाइटल हम टेक्स्ट रख देते हैं, बिकॉज सिर्फ उसमें ईमेल नहीं है. सो दीज आर द टेक्स्ट. हर टेक्स्ट में एक्चुअली कुछ टेक्स्ट में एक ईमेल एड्रेस गिवन है, कुछ टेक्स्ट में नहीं गिवन. what you have to do is कि you have to extract the email addresses using regular expressions. इसको हम उसके बाद देखते हैं. First, let's just do this first thing. Extract only the email addresses using regular expressions. So I want you to pause over here and try and write down on a piece of paper the regular expression that you will be using over here. And then हम सिर्फ उस regular expression को store करेंगे कहीं पे. So I will have I'm gonna pause over here. I'm gonna let you think about this one first. How do I find an email? I know कि ampersand है, sorry, at the rate है. At the rate से पहले भी कुछ लिखा हुआ है. At the rate से पहले जो लिखा हुआ है उसके बीच में space नहीं हो सकते. Characters भी हो सकते हैं, numbers भी हो सकते हैं. Space नहीं हो सकता, right? I can't have an email address like this, shiza space asher @gmail.com. It will feel like this is the email address. It cannot be space separated. Yeah, ऐसे हो सकता है for sure. लेकिन let's keep it simple first. First, let's keep it simple to only characters and digits. Then there's gonna be an at the rate. And then there are going to be a couple of more characters before there is a dot, and then there is not necessarily com or gb hai. So I'm gonna make it simple and say कि इसके बाद 3 characters आने चाहिए आपके पास. So what will I do over here? You have at the rate, then so if I write capital A till capital Z, तो इसका मतलब है कि कोई भी capital letter आ सकता है. Similarly, if I write A till Z, तो that means कि कोई भी lowercase letter आ सकता है. If I write 0-9, इसका मतलब है कि कोई भी digit आ सकता है from 0 till 9. If I'm giving all of these in a bracket, तो that regular expression just means कि match any uppercase letter or any lowercase letter or any digit. इनमें से कुछ भी आ सकता है. After that, I can add a plus over here. I mean, अभी हम at the rate रहने देते हैं. So up until now, what do I have? I think that I gave you a small guide for regular expressions as well. Just give me a second. I think I've added it to the solution notebook. Yeah. इस गाइड को हम एक दफ़ा कॉपी कर लेते हैं so that I can show this to you for your reference as well. But you are given the exact image in your solutions as well, though. Where are we at? Yeah, this is your guide. Most of these you've done in class already as well. Some I'm gonna quickly walk you through again for your information. So, जब आप slash d लिखें, it means any digit. So, essentially जो मैंने 0 to 9 लिखा, उसको मैं slash d से भी replace कर सकती हूँ. It's one and the same thing. Slash capital D means anything that is not a digit. So this is very easy to understand actually. जहाँ पे capital digit आता है वो sorry capital character आता है, that's the exact opposite of what you had when you had a lowercase character. Just like this, slash W, which has been covered in class, means a word character. It could be alphanumeric or it could be underscore. Slash capital W means anything that is not in the slash W category. Similarly, slash S is for a white space character, slash capital S is for a non white space character. Dot is a wild card. It matches any character except for a new line. New line is, we haven't covered this, so you can let this go. Regular expressions में हमने एक certain number of expressions cover किए. For your information, I will show you one to two additional things in this tutorial as well. From an exam point of view, only that which has been covered in slides for regular expression will be tested. Only those you should be well familiar with. So, dot is a wild card. Dot has been covered in class as well. It can match any character, anything can be replaced with a dot. जो आपके पास ये वाली hat है, this matches the start of a string only. So अगर मैं इस cone के साथ hello लिखूं तो it will match only the strings that start with hello. It will not match a string if it goes like hi, exclamation mark, and then hello world, because even though the string contains hello, it doesn't begin with hello essentially. Dollar sign means the end of a string. अगर मैंने वर्ल्ड डॉलर साइन लिखा है तो ये सिर्फ उन्हीं स्ट्रिंग्स को मैच करेगा जिनके बिल्कुल एंड के ऊपर वर्ल्ड आता है. अगर हेलो वर्ल्ड एक्सक्लेमेशन मार्क है तो वो उसको नहीं मैच करेगा बिकॉज द स्ट्रिंग डजंट एंड विद वर्ल्ड, इट एंड्स विद एक्सक्लेमेशन मार्क. So that's something to be mindful of. Then you have square brackets. Square brackets के अंदर आप कोई digit लिख दें या कोई character लिख दें तो उस single character को सिर्फ match करता है. Any single character that is given within the brackets. अगर आप स्क्वायर ब्रैकेट्स के अंदर कोई कैरेक्टर सेट या कोई कैरेक्टर स्पेसिफाई कर रहे हैं एंड देन you add a cone to it, at cone at the beginning of it, so it will match a single character that is not within those brackets. इसको हम example से देख लेते हैं. This can be a little bit confusing at first. It's just like negation essentially, जिस तरह exclamation mark से negation होता है, not होता है. So, not 0 to 9 means match anything that is not a digit between 0 and 9, if that makes sense. This is not a dot. This thing given to you right here is actually a star. So a star matches zero or more occurrences of a preceding character. Essentially, अगर मैंने G O steric D लिखा है, तो it means के just for O, because O के आगे steric लिखा है, so O can occur more than or equal to 0 times, which means के GD भी match होगा, GOD भी match होगा, G double OD, triple OD will also be matched. So zero or more occurrences. अगर उस steric को आप replace कर दें with a plus sign on the other hand, then you're gonna match one or more occurrences of the preceding character. You're actually probably gonna cover this in automata if you take it at any point as well. So if I write GO plus D, तो now it says कि O की one or more occurrences आनी चाहिए. It must occur greater than or equal to one times, which means कि GD match नहीं होगा. GOD match होगा, G double OD match होगा, and well triple OD and so on and so forth. A question mark matches zero or one occurrence of the preceding character. With that, let's move on. Zero or one occurrence का ये मतलब है, let me show you actually. I don't think you've covered this in class, but for your information, just the plus and the steric you should be very well familiar with. The question mark goes like this. If I write GO question mark D, it means के O को once या zero times आना चाहिए, not more than that. So GOD match होगा, GD match होगा, और कुछ भी नहीं match होगा. Then you have curly brackets. Curly brackets के अंदर आप count of occurrences को specify करते हैं. And you mention either the exact count or a certain range. अगर मैं सिर्फ number 2 specify कर दूं, just like this example, GO curly brackets 2 and then D, तो it means कि O ने exactly twice occur करना है. So इस regex का सिर्फ एक ही match है, which is G double O D. Good. This regular expression will essentially match nothing else. Then you have, well, m comma in curly brackets. That is for your ranges. If I write 2 comma, तो it means के greater than or equal to 2 times. अब इसका सिर्फ एक मैच नहीं होगा. इसका मतलब है कि simple G or D नहीं मैच होगा because उसमें O has only occurred once. But if I write G double OD तो वो मैच हो जाएगा. If I write G triple OD तो वो भी मैच हो जाएगा, and so on and so forth. Similarly, you have m comma n. अगर curly brackets में मैंने G O, then curly brackets में 1 comma 3 लिखा है, तो 1 to 3 times, which means कि सिर्फ 3 possible matches हैं. G double O D, G O D, G double O D, and G triple O D. Nothing else will be matched. This you are well familiar with already. ये जो straight line है, this is an either or thing. So if I write apple, straight line orange, तो ये सिर्फ दो चीजों को मैच करेगा. या ये apple को मैच करेगा या orange को मैच करेगा. उन दोनों को मैच नहीं करेगा. And then you can obviously have combinations of these patterns. These are the basic ones that you should be familiar with, just the very basic ones. You have simple round brackets which just group multiple patterns together. So अगर मैं in brackets के अंदर A, B और आगे plus लिखूं, तो you know what plus means. It means one or more occurrences of what is given preceding this character. इसके preceding A B है bracket में, तो अब सिर्फ B के साथ plus नहीं है, A B के साथ plus है. So इसका जो smallest possible match है, essentially that's gonna be A B, and then you could have A B A B, then you could have A B A B A B, and so on and so forth. You can create multiple matches for this. This sheet is available for your reference. I believe के space or um, question mark ke alawa, I think everything has been covered in class, but this is here for your information though. With that, let's look at our email information. So I have a data frame emails जिसमें आपको ये text strings given है. इनमें से आपने email address extract करना है. I think we can work on this better now that we've taken a quick recap of different regular expressions that we've covered. So, अब आपको ये in fact थोड़ा सा better समझ आ जाएगा. So I have A to Z capital, A to Z small, 0 to 9, which means कि ये पूरा जो regular expression है, this means any uppercase character, any lowercase character, any digit, because I know कि at the rate से पहले essentially कुछ भी आ सकता है मेरे पास. इसके आगे इसको मैंने bracket में enclose करके इसके आगे plus sign डाल दिया essentially. Um, Actually आप square bracket को स्क्वेयर ब्रैकेट में एक सिंगल कैरेक्टर मैच होता है दैट इज गिवन विद इन दीज ब्रैकेट्स. सो इसका मतलब है कि या तो ये सिलेक्ट होगा, या ये सिलेक्ट होगा, या ये सिलेक्ट होगा. That's what a square bracket means, right? अगर मैं एक square bracket के अंदर AEIOU लिख दूं तो उसमें से कोई एक कैरेक्टर मैच हो जाता है, कोई भी अगर उसमें से हो। अगर उसके आगे मैंने प्लस डाल दिया है तो it means at least one or greater than one essentially from this class. Once this has occurred, so after that I will have at the rate. अब जब at the rate आ गया है तो उसके बाद I will have something like this. Um, and that can be, well, any number of characters. इसमें actually numbers भी आ सकते हैं. I'll give you guys a more complex example that is not given here. My own email, shiza.asher@lams.edu.pk. So the interesting thing is कि जो मैंने अभी तक regular expression लिखी है वो इस चीज को match कर लेगी, right? नहीं, वो essentially सिर्फ इसी चीज को मैच करेगी, इसके बाद उसे at the rate भी नहीं मिलेगा. I want you to think about why. Then we will make our regular expression a bit more flexible. Because मैंने डॉट नहीं स्पेसिफाई किया, डॉट भी तो आ सकता था, एंड डॉट को स्पेसिफाई करने के लिए आप सिर्फ डॉट नहीं लिख सकते. Common mistake has been covered in class as well. अगर आप सिर्फ डॉट लिखें तो it's a wild character. Anything can be replaced with a dot. So instead, what I will do is I will write backslash dot. Backslash dot आप लिखें, if there's any character of the sort that you want to write down, you have to write it with a backslash. These kind of characters which have otherwise meanings as well. जिस तरह के डॉलर साइन है, it means the end of a string. If you want to match just a dollar sign, I suppose you would have to do it like that. So अब तक मैंने जो रेगुलर एक्सप्रेशन ये यहाँ पे लिखा है, ये इस चीज को मैच कर लेगा, राइट? अब इसके बाद आपके पास ये वाली चीज है. So at the rate, and then you can have, well, you can't have digits here. You can just have characters here. So once again, A till Z. Let's just keep it small. ये capital भी नहीं हो सकते, in fact. For this particular one, I want to make sure कि इसके बाद अगर कोई decimal आ रहा है तो वो भी match हो जाए. जो आपको examples given हैं, उसमें आप अगर इसको I suppose ना भी लिखें तो that's still fine. Or if you're matching after at the rate, you would actually have to do it. And then I would want this to occur. Well, that's interesting actually. If I ignore this example for a bit and I assume कि सिर्फ ये यहाँ तक होगा, तो I want to make sure कि end पे at least मेरे पास 3 characters आ जाएं, right? So this thing can occur, जो इसके पीछे मैंने लिखा है, dot से जो separated हैं, this has to occur one or more times, right? After that, you can again have small characters, lowercase characters, that I suppose must occur, let's say, 2 or more times. In actual, it could be 3 or more as well. This is your regular expression. This is one regular expression that we have formed. In the solution document, I'll give you an alternative one as well because there are multiple that can perhaps be used to match these strings. जब आप कोई रेगुलर एक्सप्रेशन लिखें तो आपको उसके शुरू में R लिखना होता है outside of your quotation marks essentially. Now, what I will do is कि I will extract all the email addresses. So, emails is the name of my data frame. Yeah, emails, text, dot. Now, the function that we will be using here, also covered in your slides, is extract. Extract के अंदर मैं ये expression pass करूँगी. Expression pass करने के बाद there is one small thing that is still missing. There's a flag called regex. which is obviously short for regular expression, you have to set this flag to true so that it knows that what it is looking for is a regular expression. My bad, we forgot to specify .str. You don't need a regex for the dot extract function. Dot extract function आपका work ही सिर्फ regular expressions पे करता है. But there are some string operations that we will look at that actually work on simple strings as well as regular expressions, in which case you have to specify it. So this is what I have obtained. इसने मुझे essentially email addresses extract कर दिए हैं, और जिस string में कोई match नहीं था वहां पे उसने simply मुझे null return कर दिया है. As a data scientist, during the process of well, working on this, what you would do is कि जहाँ पे NaN है, you could just replace it with something. Well, first I have to receive my results somewhere though. So email equals, let's look at our data. This is what I have now. Now I could simply do this dot fill NA, and I could replace it with no email, for instance. Let's see. See there, that has essentially worked for me. So this is how you can just extract email addresses using regular expressions. The idea of doing this was, and I would encourage you to try this out on your own as well. Try out different email addresses. I have given you a link to regex 101 over here. regex 101 के ऊपर आप ये करते हैं कि just one quick important thing, whenever you specify a regular expression, I did not mention you have to specify it within parenthesis, otherwise your code will crash. So अगर आप अपने regular expression को यहाँ पे लिखें और यहाँ पे आप कोई string लिखें तो ये आपको matches निकाल के दे देता है. So it's a pretty awesome tool for practice. See, it has automatically matched this. Now, if I write my LUMS email address, for instance, I can check to see that if it works or not. So it works essentially. So this is a wonderful tool for practice. You are given a link to the same tool in ungraded homework number 3 as well. I would encourage you to test this out on your own, play around with it. This is how you will learn how different regular expressions are working. Now, if you have to replace all domain names with @example.com, how would you do so? अगर मुझे emails extract करने की समझ आ गई है, तो I can actually establish this, do this very easily. I will tell you about the operation later. First, I want you guys to pause over here and think about how you will extract these domain names. क्योंकि अगर ये extract हो जाते हैं तो replace के लिए हमारे पास एक simple command है. So try writing down an expression that you can use to extract these. Just remember कि इस format में आप expression लिखते हैं. R quotation marks, and then inside those you write whatever it is that you want inside these parentheses. I'm gonna write the solution down though. It's actually really simple. मैं इसको यहाँ से भी in fact copy कर सकती हूँ. But let me see though. You can write at the rate capital A till capital Z, small a till small z, 0 till 9. Um, I'm gonna make this much simpler actually. Multiple times dot भी slash dot भी आ सकता है. मैं इस वाले काम को अपने लिए simpler रख रही हूँ. This is assuming के upper case letters भी आ सकते हैं. ऊपर हमने ये नहीं assume किया तो आप इसको remove करके सिर्फ ये भी देख सकते हैं. In which case you're matching smaller letters, lowercase letters, digits, dots in between. So for instance, if it is kind of like this, @lums123.edu.pk, तो I want कि इस पूरे को match करे. यहाँ तक तो मेरा मैच हो जाएगा, राइट? बट आई वांट कि ये भी मैच हो जाएगा. आई वांट कि ये मैच ना हो, क्योंकि लास्ट डॉट इस तरह नहीं रह सकता. उसके बाद देयर हैव टू बी एट लीस्ट 2 characters or something in front of it, right? So then I can do it like this. I'm showing you how different ones for this will work. Small characters, And at the end जो भी है I want at least two or more of these, right? जो इससे पीछे था उसके आगे मैं plus डाल देती हूँ. So very similar to the expression that we had so far. Let's paste this over here. Let's see if my regular expression is working for this actually. See, it's extracting exactly what I needed it to extract. हर जगह उसने highlight कर दिया just उन domain names को. So that means this expression is gonna work for me. अब इस expression ने जो extract किया है, मैंने उसको replace कर देना है at the rate example.com से, which is fairly easy to do now. I will tell you the operation that you will use for it, also covered in class, also very important from an exam perspective. So I will do emails. अब हमने email को एक separate column में place किया हुआ है, तो I'm just gonna refer to that column. Email dot str dot there is a function replace given. Replace का function बहुत ज़्यादा easy है actually. You give it the expression that tells it what to look for. Then you give it the replacement, what to replace it with. This is what you're going to find. This is what you're going to replace it with. And this is essentially what I'm going to replace it with. Example.com. And then, since this is something जो एक string के ऊपर भी चल जाता है, like I could have given it um, at the rate xyz.com. The problem with this is कि वो exactly यही ढूंढेगा. मुझे regular expressions की ज़रूरत पड़ रही है इस तरह के questions के लिए, because I'm not looking for one exact match. I am looking for general matches, things of a certain format. That's why regular expressions come in. अगर मैंने इस तरह एक simple match करके replace करना होता, तो this would have been my command and this would have worked perfectly fine. Let me show you an example actually. See, अब ये सिर्फ पहली एग्जाम्पल में है और इसने पहली वाली को रिप्लेस कर दिया. उसकी जगह अगर मैं इसको अपना रेगुलर एक्सप्रेशन दूं तो उस एक्सप्रेशन को वो हर जगह से एक्सट्रैक्ट कर लेगा और उन सब से रिप्लेस कर देगा. दैट्स व्हाई आई यूज रेगुलर एक्सप्रेशंस एंड दैट इज व्हाई इन दिस फंक्शन आई नीड टू सेट द regex फ्लैग टू ट्रू. ऊपर मुझे नहीं करना पड़ा बिकॉज जो डॉट एक्सट्रैक्ट का फंक्शन था वो वर्क ही सिर्फ रेगुलर एक्सप्रेशंस के लिए करता है. I hope that this distinction is very clear to you. So let's see. This is the output that it gives me. I could just as well, I would have to store it somewhere actually. Otherwise, I'm just gonna lose it anyway. So this is what happened. You will also notice कि जहाँ पे उसे match नहीं मिला था वहाँ उसने नहीं किया replace. जहाँ multiple matches मिले वहाँ भी replace कर देता है in fact. So I could instead also like do it in the text string by the way. Oh, accidentally I've created a new column altogether. That's not what I intended to do. See? उसके अंदर भी उसने मैचेस निकाल के एक्सट्रैक्ट कर दिया जहां मल्टीपल मैचेस मिले वहां भी एक्सट्रैक्ट कर देता है. So I want you to think about how you can use regular expressions to extract the year from the date column and then try it yourself as well. Dot extract का आप function use करेंगे, एक regular expression आप define करेंगे. Try and process this on your own. We are gonna move on to a couple of challenges. Starting with this one, isme I'm gonna tell you about one additional regular expression that's gonna come of some use to you, perhaps in your project or so. But that is otherwise not gonna be tested in your exam. बाकी सारे आपने cover किए हैं और आपको आने चाहिए from an exam point of view. The one that you haven't covered is gonna be the lookup one, and I will let you know when we get to it. So this is the data that you have. अब हम series के साथ ही work करते हैं. You are given this data of tweets. You have to extract all the hashtags and all the mentions. हम इसको एक नए code cell में ले जाते हैं and let's do it one at a time. Alright, first let's extract all the hashtags. It's gonna be a fairly simple regular expression actually. So I really want you to think about it for yourself for a second as well. You should pause and write this expression down. Let's call it the hash expression. Just remember this thing R and then these brackets. All right, I'm gonna write this down. This is really simple. एक hashtag है और उसके अंदर essentially कोई भी uppercase letter आ सकता है, कोई भी lowercase letter आ सकता है. Obviously hash के अंदर कोई भी digits भी आ सकते हैं, right? And let's suppose के underscore भी आ सकता है, exclamation mark भी आ सकता है, whatever it is that you're allowing. I don't think के plus आ सकता है. Like I can have something like this, right? Yeah, this is acceptable. उसमें underscore है, exclamation mark है, digits हैं, इस तरह कुछ capital भी हो सकता है, for instance. But I don't think that I will have something like this. Yeah, I'm not gonna include this then. Just keeping this kind of thing in mind. तो बस इतने काफी हैं special characters. I want you to think about what symbol I should add in front of it. You're going to add the plus sign because you need at least one or more occurrence of what is given over here. आप अगर steric लगा देंगे plus की जगह तो वो essentially इसको भी match कर देगा और इसको match नहीं करना. Yeah, so now that I have my hash expression given, I will tell you about the string operation that you will be using over here. Tweets dot remember str dot find all, also covered in class and you should be familiar with. Find all को कॉल करते हुए मैं इसको एक सीरीज के ऊपर कॉल कर रही हूँ तो I will just specify my expression. This is also a function that works with regular expressions only, which is why I don't have to manually set the regex flag to true in this case as well. Let's see कि output किस format में आता है. It's kind of like जब आप dot split करते हैं और वो हर index के against एक array return करता है, उसी तरह उसने हर index के against एक array return किया और उस array के अंदर उसने सारे matches डाल दिए. You can see that there are some columns जिनमें कोई match नहीं है. And वो columns के लिए कोई भी output नहीं return हुआ then. So that's how find all works essentially. Next, you have to extract all mentions. This is gonna be the exact same thing essentially. I hope you've been able to figure this out as well. Let's call it mention expression और बस hash की जगह at the rate है. Let's see what output this gives us. Yeah, so this is what you have now. All right, on that note, let's move on towards our next part. You have web server logs. You're required to extract all IP addresses and extract the dates from the data. Again, इन दोनों को one at a time process करके देखते हैं. For your ease, let me just convert this to a data frame actually. Let's call it log. Yeah, so this is the data set that you have. You have to extract all IP addresses. IP addresses का ये general format है. So I want you to pause and try and write this expression down on your own as well. This is fairly simple actually. Let's call it IP expression. Once again, remember R, quotation marks, parenthesis, all right? So how are you gonna do this? आपके पास ये एक एग्जाम्पल है .168.1.1. सिमिलरली आपके पास एक ये एग्जाम्पल है. मतलब कि essentially 3 दफा आपके पास decimal places हैं in between. This is not an IP address. Yeah, this is this. Oh, this is an IP address. What am I missing here? Yeah, this is an IP address. Sorry, I just couldn't see it properly. Similarly, third आपको ये example given है 16.0.3. So शुरू में आपके पास 3 characters आ सकते हैं, but 2 characters भी हैं, and let's suppose कि between 1 and 3 characters आ सकते हैं, right? Either a 1 digit or 2 digits or 3 digits. Digit, not character. सो 0 to 9 से मैंने डिजिट क्लास को स्पेसिफाई कर दिया, डिनोट कर दिया, एंड इफ यू रिमेम्बर तो आप स्लैश डी से भी डिनोट कर सकते हैं बाय द वे, लेकिन हम इस कन्वेंशन के साथ चलते हैं. आई विल, यू कैन ट्राई आउट द ऑल्टरनेटिव एज वेल. देन इफ आई स्पेसिफाई 1 3, तो इट मीन्स कि ये वाली चीज आएगी 1 2 या 3 टाइम्स. इसके बाद यू विल हैव अ डेसिमल. डेसिमल को आप इस तरह नहीं स्पेसिफाई कर सकते बिकॉज दैट्स अ वाइल्ड कार्ड. यू हैव टू स्पेसिफाई इट विद ए बैकस्लैश. देन अगेन आई विल हैव between 1 and 3 digits. Then again I will have a decimal. Then again between 1 and 3 digits. Yeah, अभी रहता है. Then again a decimal. Then again between 1 and 3 digits. So that's a very simple expression actually. Logically it should work as well. So क्यों ना हम इसको इसके ऊपर try करके देख लें actually. Hold on a second. If I just copy these and ये match हो जाती हैं तो that's gonna do my job then. That's weird. ये नहीं match हो रही essentially. Let me see what the problem is. 0 till 9 between 1 and 3 times, and 1, 2, and hold on a second. Hmm. Oh, right, right, right. There was a dot at the end. Okay, let's see. 1, 2, 3 times. Yeah, ये comma नहीं था, ये dot था एक जगह पे. That was the only problem. Yeah, this should work now. There you go. Now it's working. That's why this tool is so great. It's easy to make errors when writing these expressions down इस तरह से, but that way you can test them out. On paper, it's simpler actually. Okay, so this expression is gonna work for me. Think about the string operation that you use for extraction. It only works on regular expressions. So I'm gonna write this down. Log dot str dot extract, and इसके अंदर आप सिर्फ अपना expression specify करते हैं. And this should work. इसमें regex का flag true नहीं set करना पड़ रहा because this runs only for regular expressions, and that's it. That did my job. I can store this somewhere. IP, or let's just call it IP equals. This is what I have been able to do with my regular expression. So what I was telling you was कि आप alternatively slash d भी लिख सकते हैं to denote a digit, and that should also work fine for you. See, it's also working exactly in the same way. अगर मैं slash capital D लिख दूं तो it means match anything that is not a digit. So, like I said, you can write multiple regular expressions that are matching a similar string sometimes. Okay, next you have to extract the date from each log entry. Date आपको इस तरह के फॉर्मेट में गिवन है essentially. इसको extract करने के multiple तरीके हैं. I want to show you 1 to 2 techniques of doing so as well actually. But let's start with the date expression actually, the regular expression technique is what I meant. So I have a digit जिसकी लेंथ नहीं, एग्जैक्टली 2 तो नहीं, एग्जैक्टली 2 ही है. लुक, बिकॉज यहाँ पे सिंगल डिजिट डेट है लाइक 1 जनवरी, वहां भी 0 1 लिखा हुआ है. सो आई नो कि ये एग्जैक्टली 2 डिजिट्स होंगे. उसके बाद आपके पास स्लैश है, एंड देन यू हैव ए कैरेक्टर. कैरेक्टर आपके पास एक कैपिटल है and then followed by two small characters. Yeah, that's the format that we're going with, like capital F, small e, B, capital M, small a, R, capital J, and lowercase a n. So ये आपके पास exactly two times है. Then आपके पास एक और slash है. And then for year, you have exactly four digits. So yeah, I believe that this expression should work for you, but why don't we test it out? Yeah, अभी तो ये कुछ भी नहीं match कर रहा. Let's try and write our date down somewhere. Yeah, it's not matching the date. Yeah, my bad. जब आपने एक कैरेक्टर स्लैश डाला है तो उसको भी बैक स्लैश के साथ एंटर करना पड़ता है, जस्ट लाइक आपने बैक स्लैश के साथ डॉट को एंटर किया था. या दिस वाज द ओनली थिंग दैट वाज मिसिंग. नाउ योर एक्सप्रेशन शुड वर्क. See, it's filtering out my date. Okay, so now I can simply do again dot extract. Logs log dot str dot extract just the date expression, no regex flag, because this should work for me and it's extracting all the dates for me. तो हम इसको एक date column में in fact store कर लेते हैं. This is the output. Now I want to show you the alternative way to do this as well. क्योंकि आपको ये एक certain format में given है सारे logs, तो आप dot split use करके भी extract कर सकते हैं in fact. मैं इसमें से एक log को थोड़ा सा copy करती हूँ to show you what they look like. So just to show you that there are multiple ways of doing the same thing, the kind of thing has been tested in the past as well. Sorry, not date, log dot str dot split. Think about how I'm gonna do this. Now, as a data scientist, I would say कि अगर मैं इस square bracket की basis पे split कर लूँ, तो मैं इस half में आ गई हूँ. इस हाफ को अगर मैं इस कॉलन की बेसिस पे स्प्लिट करके ये वाला पार्ट सेलेक्ट कर लूं तो डेट निकल आई है. सो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल आई विल डू डॉट एस टी आर वन विच मीन्स के ये वाली चीज निकल आएगी. राइट, मैंने स्प्लिट किया इस स्क्वायर ब्रैकेट की बेसिस पे और फर्स्ट इंडेक्स मतलब ये वाला पार्ट सेलेक्ट कर लिया. अब जो ये वाला हाईलाइटेड पार्ट सेलेक्ट किया है उसके ऊपर अगेन आई विल डू डॉट एस टी आर डॉट स्प्लिट and I will split on the basis of this column. इसकी basis पे split करने के बाद I will select the 0th index which should give me the date. Yeah, that should essentially work as well. Let's see what output this gives me. See, exact same thing that I was looking for. So इसको मैं इस तरह भी लिख सकती हूँ. Just to show you that there are multiple ways of doing the exact same thing. Try and solve some of these out on your own again as well. Okay, next up you have to find the log entries where the response code is 500. That should be really simple actually. So I want to look at the logs that I have with me first. So इन्हें मैं एक दफा view कर लेती हूँ. Dot to list not included just to show you, just like मैं पूरा log print करके देखना चाह रही हूँ क्या given है. So essentially log का format ये है कि बिल्कुल end के ऊपर आपको error code given है. So यहाँ response code given है essentially. 200 means success, 404 means error, and 500 means suspicious activity in this example. So इसको कैसे extract करेंगे? Pause करके do think about it. I, however, am directly gonna write it down. Dot str dot split. I want to split on the basis of space क्योंकि अगर मैं space की basis पे इस array को break down कर लूँ तो last index पे response code आ जाएगा. या एक ही space है. So dot str -1. There, that's exactly what I was looking for. So if this thing is equal to 500, so now I have a Boolean series. Now it should have given me true at some point. Oh, it's not giving me true because this is a string. This isn't a number. There you go. अब इस Boolean series को अगर मैं अपने data frame में pass करूँ, तो ये मुझे वो वाली log entries दे देगा जहाँ पे this is the response code. This is what I was looking for. This is the kind of thing that you should be able to crack on your own as well, starting now. All right, moving on. Write a regex pattern that matches words containing an even number of vowels. The thing is, I'm going to show you a simpler example of this. that you should be able to crack essentially. एक हम इसके लिए array लिख लेते हैं, in fact एक series बना लेते हैं हम. Let's call it word list equals pd dot series. That's how you create a series. And meet noon. This shouldn't match. This should also match. This shouldn't match. Yeah, let's suppose that this is the data that I have right now. Yeah, this is what you have. अगर मैं इसको थोड़ा सा modify करूं और consecutive लिख दूं, consecutive even number of vowels, तो फिर तो you've done something very similar in class as well, and you should be able to do this for yourself too. इसका regular expression try करके देखते हैं. Try it out on your own as well. It's fairly simple. You could have, let's suppose we're only dealing with lowercase. Let's simplify this. Because if you're able to do it for lowercase, you will certainly be able to do it yourself for uppercase as well. So I'm going to write A, E, I, O, U for simplicity. And I want this to occur 2 times. अब ये जो कंप्लीट चीज है, इसके इर्द गिर्द मैं राउंड ब्रैकेट्स डाल देती हूँ और प्लस कर देती हूँ. इससे क्या होगा, ये जो 2 टाइम्स अकर कर रहा है उसके आगे अगर प्लस है तो दैट्स वंस और मोर. सो जो भी अकरेंसेस हैं वो 2 से मल्टीप्लाई हो जाएंगी, आइदर 2 टाइम्स और 4 टाइम्स और 6 टाइम्स और सो ऑन एंड सो फोर्थ. सो आई कुड डू word list dot str dot extract. No, in fact, I don't want to do extract क्योंकि मैंने सिर्फ वो word extract नहीं करना उसमें से कुछ. I could do contains. Yeah, I could just do contains because whichever ones contain these will automatically be filtered out that way. And then I can pass it my expression. And this is what it gives me. So that's interesting कि ये by default regular expressions को भी कर रहा है process. Perhaps this one behaves differently than the ones that we looked at previously. So if I pass this to word list, it should automatically filter out those rows that, yeah, that contain a consecutive even number of vowels. ये वो काम है जो आप कर सकते हैं. For your information, and just for your information, you can perhaps use this somewhere in your project in the process of data cleaning. I want you to be familiar with this. However, we will not test it in the exam. I'm going to show you the look ahead group as well, or the non-capturing group as well. So this is something that you can use क्योंकि वैसे आप एक ऐसी string को in regular expression से capture नहीं कर सकते जिसमें एक वैसे even number of occurrences हों, जिस तरह for instance apple, because वो different instances पे हैं. If you want to count the number of vowels, so you can't do that directly with the information that has been provided to you. So anyway, this is what I will do. Let me show you an expression and let me briefly explain that expression to you as well. इसके अंदर हम expression लिखेंगे. So I have A. I hope you remember what this meant. ये है negation, which means कि ये वाली चीज नहीं occur करनी चाहिए. ये आप लोगों ने cover किया हुआ है. So I will write A, E, I, O, U in here. It means कि a consonant, something that is not a vowel, will be captured over here. इसके आगे मैं star लगा देती हूँ, which means कि one or more consonants, one or more thing that is not a vowel. And then I will have a E, I, O, U. which is a vowel, of course. You will have this once. And then you will have A, E, I, O, U. Again, a consonant. इसके आगे मैं star लगा देती हूँ once or zero or more times. पीछे भी zero or more times था. And then I can write two comma. Or I could just write two and then इस पूरे expression के बाहर I could write plus. Now let's try running this. So essentially, the reason that it's filtering out banana, which you would notice, contains actually one, two, and well, three vowels, even though हमने एक ऐसी regular expression लिखी थी, which should only match an even number of vowels is, and it may sound a little bit counterintuitive, but essentially what happens is कि this is how the function works, this is how regular expressions work. उसने यहाँ तक match किया, and it's true कि my word banana actually contains a match for this expression, which is BANAN. तो उसने आगे वाले A को ignore कर दिया और मुझे return कर दिया. This is just how regular expressions work in general, which is where I will refer you back to where is our table? Yeah, here's our table. Here you will notice कि हमने ये दो flag study किए थे. The cone, while if you specify the cone inside a square bracket, it mentions negation, not the opposite of a specified character set. But otherwise, the cone itself mentions the start of a string. It denotes the start of a string, and a dollar sign denotes the end of a string. So आपने explicitly अपनी regular expression को बताना है कि it has to look at the entire string, which is very easy to do. If I write cone here, it means the start of the string. If I write dollar here, it means up until the end of a string. And then it will only give me the matches that I'm looking for. This way, I am forcing it to look at the entire string and check if the entire string is a match or not. So, anyway, that you should be able to do on your own as well. This practice problem we have looked at once. I will leave it for you to try out on your own later as well. ये path का थोड़ा सा issue था. So try this out on your own later as well. For the most part, we have covered what should equip you to solve this now. There is one last problem that we're going to look at. I have already moved this to the end in the notebook that I've shared with you. यहाँ पे इसकी placement थोड़ी सी गड़बड़ है. This is where I will teach you about the look ahead operation. It makes these regular expressions simpler for you. In some cases, इसके साथ आप काम better कर सकते हैं. In some cases, आप इसके बगैर काम नहीं कर सकते, or that your expression is going to be too long otherwise. However, it's not going to be tested. You will find it useful in certain places though. So it's an exciting challenge. Feel free to pause and try it out on your own as best as you can as well. You have to validate passwords. This is a very interesting use case of regular expressions as well. A valid password now must have at least one uppercase letter, at least one lowercase letter, at least one number, and must be at least 8 characters long. एक रेगुलर एक्सप्रेशन में हमारे पास ऑपरेशन है which is this question mark equals. This is the look ahead operation essentially. What the look ahead operation is doing for you is so it jumps ahead and it finds a match for a given class in the entire string. For instance, if I do um this thing, सो ये पूरी स्ट्रिंग में देखेगा कि कहीं पे भी एपी एग्जिस्ट करता हुआ मिल रहा है क्या इसको. इसका इम्पोर्टेंट यूज केस ये है इसेंशली. होल्ड ऑन, सॉरी, दिस इज गोना वर्क फॉर यू. कि अगर मैंने इस तरह करना है यूपी, सो अब ये पूरी स्ट्रिंग में सर्च करेगा कि कहीं पे भी एपी एग्जिस्ट करता है और कहीं पे भी यूपी एग्जिस्ट करता है। ऑल्टरनेटिवली अगर मैंने इसको लिखना होता तो मे बी आई वुड हैव रिटन डाउन ए कंप्लीट रेगुलर एक्सप्रेशन इन दिस फॉर्मेट के लाइक slash w maybe like anything any number of times followed by ap followed by slash w any number of times followed by up followed by slash w0 or more times. The problem with this expression is कि it assumes कि ap पहले आएगा string में कहीं भी और up बाद में आएगा। इन दोनों में से कुछ भी हो सकता था actually. So what I will do is कि मैं इसको parenthesis में डालूंगी, उसके बाद मैं और लिखूंगी और उसके बाद मैं एक नए parenthesis में इसका opposite डालूंगी। दिस एक्सप्रेशन इज रियली लॉन्ग। जो ऊपर वाला एक्सप्रेशन है वो एग्जैक्टली यही सेम काम कर रहा है बट इट्स सो मच शॉर्टर। लुक अहेड मीन्स कि वो स्ट्रिंग में कहीं भी उसको ढूंढ लेगा, ऑर्डर डजेंट मैटर। And that is why in the password example, it is so useful actually. You'll find it useful in a lot of other examples as well. Because I want कि वो string में search कर ले कि कहीं पे भी एक uppercase character exist करता है या नहीं करता, which I know how to specify actually. Capital A till capital Z. कहीं पे भी string में एक lower case character exist करता है या नहीं करता, which means I will write it as a lowercase a till a lowercase d. Then similarly I want to check कि कहीं पे भी string में एक digit exist करता है या नहीं करता, which means I will write it as a slash d, which means कि ये सारी चीजें exist करनी चाहिए मेरी string के अंदर essentially. um, एंड ये जितने मर्जी नंबर ऑफ टाइम्स एग्जिस्ट कर सकती हैं, इसके बीच में कोई भी और कैरेक्टर्स भी हो सकते हैं। सिंस कोई और कैरेक्टर भी हो सकता है तो आई विल जस्ट स्पेसिफाई ए डॉट steric. Dot steric का मतलब ये है dot is a wild card, it can be replaced by any character. Steric means any character any number of times, so I have to give it the entire thing in between because कोई भी और आपके पास exist कर सकता है character. So the same thing I will specify over here as well. um this is pretty much what I was looking for actually. After that I want k, well, I'm gonna specify a wildcard after this as well, which represents any character. The reason for specifying this wildcard here is कि मैंने आगे एक certain length specify करनी है. And I want my string to be 8 or more characters long. So this means any character, any characters 8 or more times, but look ahead is enforcing कि उन characters के बीच में ये वाले patterns कहीं ना कहीं match होने चाहिए. Otherwise, your regular expression is essentially incomplete. So now let me store it as a regular expression. This is the expression that I'm trying to match. इसको try करके देख लेते हैं. Passwords dot str dot, I will teach you about another operation over here. आप dot contains भी कर सकते हैं start से end तक search करके. Alternatively, you can use dot match as well. Dot match will just return true or false. ट्रू ये आपको वहां पे रिटर्न करेगा जहां पे ये पैटर्न मिल जाए इसको, एंड फॉल्स अदरवाइज. So let's see. I'm just gonna print all my passwords over here. One is true because the length is more than 8. 1 2 3 4, it's exactly 8 actually. एक uppercase letter भी है, lowercase letters भी हैं, एक digit भी है. 2 is false because इसमें ना कोई digit है और ना कोई uppercase letter है. Similarly, then the third one is true, the fourth one is obviously false as well. So that is for your information. That's going to be it from my side for today. This is a very important tutorial. Most concepts that we've covered are very important from an exam point of view. So if you have any questions, please do reach out to me. We will give you a concept check that will cover not only this tutorial, but some concepts in pandas in general as well. Just make sure you attempt that before your upcoming midterm. That's all it's gonna be then. All the best.